Good morning and welcome to QML 40. I'm Jeremy and we are looking forward to today's session. Today we get to meet our media impact team. You'll learn what that's all about, and we have a great discussion planned for you today. We will have time for your questions and comments at the end, so you can begin submitting those at any time. And with no further ado, let's jump into today's session.
Let's see what's going on in the world today. Better yet, let's talk about something a little more interesting, okay? You go to find a Qualfon Facebook, so you type in Qualfon in the search bar, right? Maybe you just joined Twitter or downloaded Snapchat and you want to be a part of the greater Qualfon community, but you're plagued with so many options and pages, you simply just don't know which one to choose or which one's current. Hello, mission leaders. In this QML, I'd like to introduce to you a new team that was created within Qualfon called the Media Impact Team. Now, earlier this year, myself and a group of leaders met to discuss Qualfon's social media presence. We all know the significant role our social media presence plays in communication and branding efforts. It's only made sense at the time to create a formal team, and that is exactly what we did. So the Media Impact Team, or MIT as I call it, was created. The Media Impact Team consists of 4 leaders. The first of which is Brandon Ammons, Vice President of Global Talent Acquisitions. Brandon and his team utilize our social media platform to assist in finding the nearly 13,000 Qualfonians that are employed with us today. Brandon's team also plays a critical role in navigating the communication between prospective new hires and those who share, past and current experiences with Qualfon. The second leader I present to you is Marisol Sanchez, Director of Strategic Initiatives. Marisol's creativity and passion are one of the main drivers behind Qualfon's very successful podcast. Marisol also assists in Qualfon's visibility on LinkedIn, so check it out. She's always coming up with new creative and great ideas to ensure a bigger and brighter future for Qualfon. Then we have one who seems to do everything with such finesse, from her dedication and creativity to her eagle eye for detail. I'm sure everyone's witnessed this. In shared services, we have our go-to gal, Chelsea Rohr, Marketing Manager. And lastly, for MIT, I present myself, Jason Scarpe, Director of Mission Operations. Everybody should know me. I'm not sure how I ended up with this brilliant bunch, but I'm very excited to contribute my knowledge and experience from leading the team of mission coordinators who have created endless Facebook pages for social interaction, fun clubs, local communication. I'm also very excited today to share with you all some of the upcoming plans and objectives the Media Impact Team has in store. So let's kick this off. First off, we are moving from a decentralized media presence to a centralized approach. As you can see, decentralized is all over the place. Fun fact, listen to this. Fun fact, 118 pages on social media were discovered with Qualfon's name on them, many of which no longer have anyone managing or monitoring the content, but 118 pages were discovered. So having a centralized approach moving forward will allow the MIT to keep stock of what social media pages exist to avoid the situation that we've had with multiple pages that are outdated and unused. And then the MIT will also ensure there is an appropriate process that's followed when it comes to the page creation and content sharing. Another objective the team is working on right now is to develop a social media playbook. This is huge. The intention of the playbook is to document and educate employees about Qualfon's policy and procedures for digital media, including social media, podcasts, videos, etc. The playbook is broken in two different areas: policies and procedures, and 2021 social media strategy. The playbook is a live document, so it's going to be reviewed and updated quarterly. So just be aware of that. And then lastly, but certainly not least, beginning this year, July, mark your calendars. Qualfon will be streamlining all social media content. In addition to press releases, news, hiring, podcast promotion content, we'll be creating themed content on a monthly basis, and that content will be approved to be used in hashtags that will be used on all social media platforms that Qualfon uses. So stay tuned. Big things are happening with this. So now I take you to Marisol and Brandon.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you to Brandon, Chelsea. It has been a great honor to be on the MIT team. It has been a huge undertaking, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. A couple of things. Our segment, Brandon and I, we are going to do a what we think you need to know. There are 7 new processes that are very detail-orientedly documented in our playbook, which will be published in June, just a few days. We highly recommend that everyone review them. But for the purpose of the QML, because we have several different departments and the usage of social media is so vastly different, we are going to do a highlight reel of what we think you need to know about our Qualfon's new social media strategy.
Thanks, Marisol. As you can see on the screen here, we have multiple Facebook pages, really one for each country. And each country page will also have a corresponding Instagram page. As you know, Facebook and Instagram merged a while back. So lots of different Facebook pages. If you don't see your specific Facebook page there, such as a fun club page, those will be segmented out, and we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes.
Yes, we don't want anyone to freak out if you don't see your favorite Facebook page. It is quite possible that it is being reorganized as a group, which means we will change it from a page to a group and file it under one of the country pages. So become private and interfacing group pages. That is going to take us some time. All our Facebook pages are sort of tangled up with different admins, different usages, and we are going to do a very methodical scrub of our Facebook pages. So in the coming weeks, the site directors will receive a calendar of when we are going to do site-by-site Facebook scrub pages. And we have to do it slowly and methodically because we don't want to interrupt operations and we don't want to interrupt talent acquisition purchases of advertising. So be on the lookout for the Facebook scrub calendar.
Hey Marisol, did you know that we have a dedicated team in the Philippines that does nothing but monitor and react and respond to last year in 2020 over 30,000 messages that came in through Facebook alone? This group will be working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, really to be monitoring for any negative comments that may be out there. We have very specific processes that'll be handled. If the comment is ugly or is derogatory in any way, there will be certain measures where we'll take immediate action.
And we don't want anyone thinking that this is a policing measure or that we are trying to police all our Facebook pages. Every member of the MIT team has become an admin of the approved social media accounts, and the team in the Philippines are going to help us just keep track of what's going on all our global pages.
So this is where we look at the inventory of all of our Facebook pages. You can see that there's a Facebook page for each country. I think, Marisol, we had over 180 Facebook specific pages, and it's being melded down into what you see on the screen here.
These are our official social media asset lists as of today. We will add, this is ever evolving, new platforms are constantly being created, but each country has their own Facebook page. The Philippines have their additional pages. Dialogue Direct has kept their Facebook page. We have one official LinkedIn account, and that is Qualfon's preferred social media platform. And what you see here on the screen is our official Qualfon social media list as of today. This is an ever-evolving list, but for now, this is the plan. These are the Facebook pages, Dialogue Direct pages, Twitter, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is our preferred platform for Qualfon. This is where we want to drive our engagement, and it's the choice currently of Qualfon for preferred social media. Two really quick things. If a new platform starts up in a few weeks, as they do, the MIT team will be the ones gathering the handles, the official account handles for the platforms. In the past, people got very excited, new platforms came on, and a lot of accounts were created. As of today, the MIT team will create the handles for all social media accounts moving forward. And if an outside agency needs our social media accounts to run promotions or advertising or any needs that we have, we also now have a process for that. So please also get in touch with the MIT team for that.
It's nice to see all these pages, because I know whenever we started this, Marisol, we had over 180 Facebook pages.
Yes, and the MIT team took a lot of time to review all the pages. And I want to say that the creativity out there, the excitement, these are the things that we want to nurture. We're just getting organized and cleaned up is what we're doing.
And now for the next slide, we'll talk about our Qualfon podcast approval and management process.
I know a little bit about this.
Just a little bit, Marisol.
Just a little bit. You do not need to read the flow chart on the screen. I just showed this because I wanted everyone to look at the number of decisions that have to be made to publish a podcast. When we publish a podcast, we have to have the filter of our person's office and our legal office with us, because we do not want to be liable. So I am so excited to know that other podcasts have been created within the organization. It really just, I love it. But you need an advisory committee to approve anything that gets published in the Qualfon name. So if you have a podcast or you have a podcast idea, please get in touch with me. I'd be ecstatic to help you come up with a process for your podcast.
And on our next slide, we're going to cover our social media playbook and really looking at the future and how we can help.
So the playbook, as mentioned, will be published in June. Everyone will be notified. We will send that information every which way. We want you to review it and study it and know that it will be an organic document that will be updated every quarter, because social media is constantly evolving and changing. This is the beginning of a conversation about social media. The next round of scrubbing that we will be doing, hopefully by the end of this year, is our YouTube channels, our Snapchat accounts, and our TikTok accounts. So be on the lookout for that coming up, possibly third, fourth quarter.
And the most important part of this call is how you can help. We strongly encourage each and every one of you to engage your teams to like, share, subscribe to our official pages. Certainly encourage engagement, make it, commenting on a specific post, sharing that post, participate in upcoming social media campaigns. we in the talent acquisition team, last year, Facebook alone accounted for 4,000 of our sources. So 4,000 of our people that we hired in 2020 came from some of these social media activities.
What we would love to ask of our mission leaders is to think of social media sort of as a school of fish. If Qualfon posts something on our LinkedIn account, if Brandon's TA team posts something about talent acquisition, if we can all get on board to like, engage, comment, we want to be able to instantly have 250 likes or interactions on a post. We have the people, we just need you guys to get on board and start liking our stuff.
Absolutely, Marisol. And to be the best, it starts with being the best, right?
Yes.
Wow, thank you, Jason, Marisol, Brandon. I hope that everyone has learned a lot about our purpose of our playbook and our processes and our policy. And now I'm going to touch a little bit on best practices and the reason behind our strategy. So each social platform has its own purpose, its own set of strengths, and its own set of goals. They've all been designed to promote content in a specific way, and each platform we will use accordingly to get the most benefit out of them. Facebook is a bit geared more towards news and entertainment and people belonging to a community, and content is more story-based, not necessarily the stories that you see at the top that you can click through, but actual stories. And a good way to generate engagement is to ask questions, get feedback. Videos and links are also a great thing to share on Facebook, as you can click them and get to another website or platform, whatever it may be, from Facebook. Instagram is a highly visual social media platform. It's mostly used for static images and short videos. It's not often used to generate blog or website traffic in posts, essentially, because you cannot click on an Instagram post to take you to another platform. And it is best suited for strong visuals. That's the best strength. You can use hashtags. Instagram stories are gaining a lot of popularity, and you are able to tag people in your posts as well with the @mentions. As discussed earlier, LinkedIn is our preferred social network channel. It is a professional network, and content there should reflect this. It is used a lot for industry articles, trends, news, and general just professional business content. It is not something that you see many people sharing about their personal lives on. And oftentimes the content is very blog-like, and it's a good place to generate blog traffic even, or article traffic that is focused on business materials. Now for our game plan for 2021 and 2022. We are going to set goals, use social media calendar, use the best channels for our business. We're mixing up our content and using the best content for each platform. So you may see a blog on LinkedIn and a video on Facebook and a really cool image on Instagram. We will be using what's best for that platform. We are limiting access to our accounts a bit, just to kind of, as Jason talked about, centralizing this process a bit more. And then one thing we're also going to do is understand the do's and don'ts of negative reviews or comments. And one thing in there is we will reply to negative comments as long as it does not share any confidential or personal information. We won't delete it. And when responding to negative content, we should personalize our message. We should not make every response the same, generic. That's something that a lot of times some brands do, and people can see that. And it dehumanizes the response a bit, that it just seems automated. Now, 2020 brought us a great deal of video meetings and using video more often as a channel of choice. I'm sure everyone has been on more Zoom and team meetings than they ever have before. So one thing our playbook is going to cover are best practices for video meetings, or even just recording videos if you're helping out with social and you're going to be featured in a video that we're going to share. These will definitely be much more in depth in the playbook, but quickly, just some quick call outs or highlights of video best practice. Always make sure you test out your tech in advance. I don't know if any of you are familiar with LawyerCat, but this was a actual court hearing that was occurring, and a lawyer showed up as a cat and was very unsure how to no longer be a cat on his screen. So this is something to be aware of when joining meetings. Make sure you always be yourself. I know sometimes it can be a little uncomfortable being in front of the camera and seeing yourself back, but being yourself will truly come through on the camera. So you want to make sure you are doing that. Always make sure you look professional in both your apparel and your office. You'll see I blurred my background today so it would be less distracting, or I have a video background today so it's less distracting than my normal background. I'm sure a lot of us have looked like the dog in the audio only meetings, but just beware that when you are on video to look professional, as it can be a distraction. And then one thing to always remember is be intentional. It may seem that when you're on camera, it's different than being in a conference room or in a meeting, and it truly is the same. I mean, someone can see if you pick up your phone and you're texting or emailing or not paying attention, or you leave the room. So just make sure you're really truly intentional while you are on camera. And now I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you again to my wonderful MIT team for being here with us today and sharing all of this with you. I hope everyone is excited for what this new playbook and strategy bring for us, and a more cohesive process, and hopefully a lot of fun content to come. So again, thank you. And if we have any questions, I think we are opening it up now for that. So we are happy to answer anything you may want to ask.
Thank you, Chelsea. And we are now open for your questions and comments, so you can submit those. And I'll ask all the panelists if they'll turn on their cameras so we can see their bright, smiling faces today. And Roberto is joining us. I wasn't sure Roberto would be here today. Roberto, it's good to see you. And since you came,
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm going to start with you, Roberto, if that's okay.
Sure.
We obviously have been talking about social media on the call today, but just a really basic question. Why is social media so important to us at Qualfon, Roberto?
Well, I think in our leadership model, the mentor, the manager, and the messenger, the social media is the voice of a messenger. It's the voice out there, the voice in our communities, the voice in front of our clients, our prospects, our friends, our vendors, and the family of our Qualfon family. All the friends and family, everybody knows, everybody may ask, I don't know about Qualfon, and social media will be that door to open who we are. And I think the important point of social media for us is the authenticity, to be who we are. We are a private company. We have a mission that is for each one of us meaningful, that is universal. Everyone can embrace this mission that we have defined or proposed for ourselves. And social media is that extension of our years, our voice, and our heart.
Thank you very much, Roberto. A few comments have come in so far. Tony says, Jason, Marisol, Brandon, and Chelsea, awesome job. Thank you. And I agree. Thank you so much to our MIT team. Elizabeth says, another excellent QML. Thank you so much, team. Really helpful to understand. I just want to say, we are not paying people for these comments, by the way. So thank you so much when those come in. Here's another question here. For any personal podcast that has nothing to do with Qualfon, but as a Qualfon employee, is there a need to write a disclaimer such as anything on here is my own opinion and does not reflect my employer? Marisol, I'm going to throw that to you as that is related to podcasts. So do you want to chime in on that one?
Yeah, I love the question. Just asking of the question is the right thought process to consider us and think of us. This is what I'd suggest. Whoever asked that question, email me. Let's get on a phone call and talk. My initial reaction without checking with legal is no. If it's your personal podcast, you do not, unless you mention Qualfon or Qualfon as a theme, I would offer no, you don't need to have a disclaimer. But I love and appreciate that that's what you're thinking, because that's what we're asking.
Great question. Thank you so much. And of course, any of you can submit your questions or comments right now. I'm going to ask Jason a question. Jason, and by the way, a plug for the upcoming podcast. Jason is our guest in the next podcast, and we kind of talk about this. So this is kind of a plug, kind of a precursor to some of the things that you might hear in the podcast. But my question to you, Jason, is your role as the operations director for the mission department. How have you been leveraging social media, particularly during COVID? So over the last 15 months, how have you been leveraging social media?
Yeah, great question, Jeremy. And the reality is we lean on social media for a huge piece of our communication. You have all the work at home employees, you have those who are on site, you have people who were on site and now we're working from home. And really, how do you maintain that transparency and that togetherness that we really fostered while on site, but now apart? And so social media comes in as a huge weight off our shoulders, because we can communicate what's going on tomorrow, what's happening, what's the must need to know, the upcoming music video contest. A lot of that stuff it's just a great reminder, but it's also a huge community of those who are experiencing the same day-to-day activities, working at Qualfon, but also can communicate and build on relationships with one another. We have a plethora of virtual clubs that we really lean on social media to converse, plan, meet up. All of that happens through that. It doesn't happen necessarily through email. It doesn't happen through Teams. So we lean on that through our social media platforms to continue those relationships off the clock. So it's huge for us. And we've used it more than ever in the era that we're in. Yeah,
and I'm sure it will continue to be used a lot moving forward. Chelsea, I'm going to throw this next question to you, and Roberto might want to chime in also. But the question here says, are there future plans to tie in an internal social media tool with the ones mentioned on today's call, specifically a tool where employees can communicate at work versus the needs that outside social media offers? So I'm wondering, Chelsea, if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I think that's a little bit what the groups that we are going to form will do. That will be an internal, I guess, private conversation platform. I think Jason might be able to add a little bit more to this. I think there is a 6-month out intranet possibly that's being worked on. That will be another platform that people can communicate.
All right, thank you. And I completely just threw that to Chelsea, and she did a great job. No prep, no nothing. That was awesome. So, Roberto, just for the sake of time, I'm going to wrap up with you. If you want to chime in on that last question, you can. But I'll also give you the final word today on our QML.
First of all, I would like to recognize and appreciate the efforts of Marisol, Chelsea, Jason, Brandon, and others that are really very proactively have presented this to my Maro, to the executive team, and they have been working amazingly. All what you and Marisol have done for the podcast adds a great value for our social media strategy, and now the good management. Just kudos for all of the MIT team. And I know that Mike, Josie, Elizabeth, the person officer, are working in an intranet solution for internal communication just between us, and that is coming probably in the next month. So there are going to be a lot of channels to be more close to each other, engaged, and pursuing our goals.
Thank you so much, Roberto. We want to say thanks to Roberto, to all the panelists and presenters today, and thank you to each of you for joining. And we will see you next month for QML 41. Take care and have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.